right deep inside you. When will you ever let it shine from within and cast all of your fears aside? You'll see the light until that day comes.
Hello and welcome back to Kingdom Reviews. I'm your host, Future Keybearer. Today we journey to the world that never was. So our heroes arrive in Twilight Town to find Hayner, Pence, and Olette passed out in front of the old mansion.
We came here looking for Kyrie. Then those white things attacked us.
You gotta be careful.
Yeah, you guys didn't have to go and do that.
Of course we did. Kyrie's our friend too, you know.
You're right. You know, I never thought of it like that before.
You say that like it was something you had to think long and hard about. So the Twilight Gang tells our heroes that they think there's another Twilight Town due to the fact that they have their own versions of items that are supposed to be one of a kind.
See? There's gotta be another town out there like this one. That would explain how the king got that pouch in the crystal. Everything makes sense.
Sure, not people making replicas.
It does?
See, even Sora thinks this is crazy! But no time to dwell on that, as nobody's attack. But fortunately, the king arrives to help, and he's actually involved in the gameplay. Afterwards, the king asks why they came to the mansion, despite the fact that they could ask him the exact same thing. And they say that Riku gave them a clue, which prompts the king to let it slip that he made a promise to Riku. Inside, our heroes find Ansem's computer, and Pence decides to take a look. Because Pence is a tech whiz, I guess.
I can't go any further without a password.
Oh god, we're not gonna have to go back into the computer, are we?
Ansem the Wise loved ice cream.
Okay, what's the name of the flavor?
Oh, I know this! It's the Dole Whip! No, of course, it's sea salt ice cream. This allows our heroes to access the alternate Twilight Town from the beginning of the game. Not that we really get to explore it. Our heroes find a portal to whatever the hell this place is supposed to be, and almost immediately get attacked by nobodies. After fighting for a bit, Axel joins the fight, but surprisingly enough, he's chosen to fight alongside Sora. What happened to the king?
I think I liked it better when they were on my side.
Feeling a little regret?
The hell was that read? Regardless, Axel decides to use self-destruct, and it's super effective. As Axel lies dying on the, well, I hesitate to call it a floor, but he apologizes for the trouble he caused to Sora and Kyrie.
Axel, what were you trying to do?
I wanted to see Roxas. He made me feel like I had a heart. It's kind of funny. You make me feel the same.
Gee, I wonder why. After that pull on the non-existent heartstrings, our heroes arrive in the world that never was, and we run through the city streets that are just swarming with shadows. Pro tip, now is a good time to grind your drive forms. This goes on until Sora suddenly finds himself fighting against Roxas at the Station of Awakening. And man, the raw emotion! Roxas is pure rage. It really gets to me. Afterwards, you get a new drive form. Sort of. See, from this point onward, whenever you activate a drive form, there's a slight chance that it'll become final form. Insert "this isn't even my final form" joke here. Which I have mixed feelings about. On the one hand, once you get it, you can activate it at will, and it's a nice surprise. But there's no in-game indicator that you can do this, and you'll never know until it happens. Regardless, it's obviously the most powerful form in the game, being a more powerful version of Master Form, and giving you the glide ability. And now that we've got all the other drives in the game, it's time to discuss the dreaded Anti-Form. Anti-Form is something you technically have as early as Valor Form. Anytime you use a drive, there's a chance you'll activate it. A chance that grows with each use of the drive forms. In this form, you can't use items or magic, and your attacks are weaker, though they are a lot faster. From what I understand, the intention here was to create a system that punishes the player for abusing drive forms too often. The problem is, with how the system works, it's possible to turn into Anti-Form after just one transformation. As a result, the player may feel inclined to never use drive forms at all, which means they may never see final form, which is the one form that decreases the odds of getting anti-form. Anyway, afterwards we see Kairi and Pluto locked up, being taunted by Sayax.
Sora's in danger because of me.
To be fair, I think Sora would have found his way here anyway. However, Naminé arrives and helps Kairi escape. As our heroes enter the castle, Sayax blocks off Kairi and Naminé's escape path. Fortunately, Riku is there to save their asses. Naturally, Kairi is happy to see him, but is no doubt surprised by what she finds under his hood. After we go through the castle a bit, Sayax claims that their Kingdom Hearts is almost complete.
Now all they need is one more helping from the Keyblade Bearer.
Dude, shadows don't hold captive hearts. This literally helps no one. But no time to dwell on that, as Sora and Kairi see each other for the first time in a year. But this isn't really the time for sweet reunions.
Sora.
Get used to this, honey. Once again, Riku saves her ass and just hands her her very own Keyblade. Okay, ignoring how Kairi is suddenly able to wield the thing, has Riku just been carrying a spare Keyblade on him this whole time? Oh yeah, and Riku's an official Keyblade wielder now. And just as set up for later, we see Pete and Maleficent planning to take this castle for themselves. Meanwhile, the king is fighting off hordes of enemies until he meets up with Diz, who turns out to be Ansem the Wise! Yeah, honestly, at this point, it was pretty obvious.
Why didn't you come to me before things got so bad?
Xemnas, the organization superior, is the nobody of Xehanort, my foremost apprentice. Burden was mine to bear.
Yeah, how'd that work out for you? We then get the explanation as to why Riku looks like Xehanort's Heartless. An explanation that's become kind of unnecessary with 358 days over 2 being a thing.
He said he wanted to help Sora, but he made me promise. Promise that Sora wouldn't ever find out about what happened to him while he was out in the darkness.
Okay, either no, because when we saw that meeting in 358, he just wanted Mickey to be there for Sora when he woke up. Either that, or there was another meeting that we've never seen. Anyway, after our heroes deal with the Heartless, Xigbar arrives to taunt Sora.
I guess that must be why the Keyblade chose you. But man, did it pick a dud this time. You don't look like you're half the hero the others were.
Is that setting up Xigbar's role in the larger story? We then get a pretty intense boss fight against Xigbar. After beating him...
Why did you call me Roxas?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Once upon a time, the things out of Xigbar's mouth were so simple. Now I'm wondering if he had some sort of ulterior motive with that line.
Gee, I wonder if Riku will ever change back.
Riku chose that form so he could use the power of darkness. It won't be easy.
Ha! Eventually, we make our way up to Kairi.
Kairi, you are great!
Too bad we'll never get to see it. Riku tries to leave, but Kairi won't let him. After some weird hand-holding things, Sora realizes it really is Riku.
Riku! It's Riku. Riku's here.
Now, some people have given Sora crap for reacting this way to Riku and not Kairi, but one, when Sora finally saw Kairi, they were kind of in the middle of something. Two, for all Sora knew, Riku was dead. For as notably concerned Sora was about Kairi, he was at least assured that she was okay. Held captive, of course, but okay. But for Riku, all he had to go on was gut instinct. Honestly, I don't blame Sora for reacting like this.
Those clues we kept finding, that must have been Riku.
I was starting to worry you guys weren't ever gonna catch on. Sora never did pick the brightest friends.
What does that say about you, buddy? As our heroes move on, we see Ansem and the King use a device that's supposed to encode Kingdom Hearts. Presumably using the same technology that allows us to visit the space paranoids. We then get 2 organization boss fights back to back. First is Luxord, which is weird. He doesn't have a health bar, rather both he and Sora have a time gauge. I think a more accurate descriptor would have been a luck gauge. Basically, throughout the fight, Luxor will force you to play his games. If you win, you gain time and he loses time. But if you fail, it's the other way around. The first to run out of time is the loser. The other fight is against Sayax, which is more typical, but with the twist of the Berserk gauge, that when filled, allows Sayax to become temporarily invincible as he rages out. And both fights end with the boss calling Sora Roxas.
Why has everybody been calling me Roxas?
Because, Sora, Roxas is your nobody.
My... nobody? But that's crazy. I never turned into a heart...
How could you honestly forget that?
Roxas. I wish I could meet him too.
Oh, you did. So we move on and meet up with the King and Ansem. And Xemnas appears as well. After he and Ansem confront each other about their past, Ansem's machine explodes, which has the effect of turning Riku back to normal. Somehow.
Ansem did say anything could happen.
Translation, it was a Deus Ex Machina explosion. And so now Riku joins the party proper. What's interesting about Riku is some of his abilities are reaction commands for Sora, as well as his quite frankly kick-ass limit break. Just before we can reach the top of the tower, a large wave of shadows chase after our heroes. But in one last twist for these two, Pete and Maleficent hold them off, so that our heroes can deal with Xemnas. The enemy of my enemy. Our heroes move on to find Xemnas.
Warriors of the Keyblade, go forth and bring me more hearts.
No! Did he seriously think that would work? So, after some interesting talk about the nature of being scared by the dark and how the organization's actions were bad, despite their seemingly noble intentions, we get a one-on-one boss fight against Xemnas in a weird other realm or something. And apparently, Xemnas uses lightsabers. Holy crap! Kingdom Hearts predicted Disney's acquisition of Lucasfilms! After we kick his ass, Xemnas tries to salvage what he can from Kingdom Hearts. And we get one last chance to save before our final battle. After our heroes enter the door, Xemnas throws a freaking building at them! And the King and Kairi end up on the other side of the door. Which is weird because this is one of the fights where Mickey can show up if you die. So the fight proper begins, and after getting more buildings thrown at us, we have to destroy... this... thing. Yeah, for some reason we have to destroy what appear to be a series of power generators, but I honestly have no idea what they're for. Eventually, you fight Xemnas himself, clad in armor, and using the weapons and abilities of all the other organization members. And apparently, he's too good to stand up while he's fighting us. Afterwards...
Gosh, you all did great.
How would you know? You weren't there! Unless we died.
I had given in to the darkness.
Riku!
How am I gonna face everyone?
Like this?
Sora, you are incredible.
How do we get out of here, Your Majesty?
I take it you can't call the gummy ship or something. Fortunately, what remains of Naminé opens a dark corridor for them to escape through.
See? We meet again, like we promised.
Huh?
You said we'd meet again. But when we did, we might not recognize each other.
Actually, I was talking to Sora. I'm only half kidding. I'm pretty sure that was meant for both of them.
So, we can be together again.
Right. Anytime Sora and Kairi are together.
We'll be together every day. Right, Sora?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kairi makes it through, but the portal closes before Sora and Riku can follow. Apparently Xemnas isn't done yet, so our heroes commandeer a conveniently placed hovercraft to take out this dragon airship thing. I scratch my head, but I can't lie. This thing is awesome. We then have to deal with armored Xemnas again, except now we're dodging buildings. Again. After which, we have to fight Zebra Xemnas here, and he is a button-mashing beast. A lot of reaction commands. Eventually, Xemnas starts sapping Sora's health, and you have to take control of Riku to save him. After which comes the Laser Storm, where you have to mash X and triangle to get the two to block all the lasers. Oh my aching thumbs! Fortunately, if you survive that, your digits can take a rest as Sora and Riku trade off beating the shit out of Xemnas with no player input. Once that's done, just one more combo and victory! But because these two can't catch a break, they're attacked by an army of Dusks, which afterwards leaves Riku exhausted. Riku's ready to just give in, but Sora being Sora won't let him. Somehow, the two end up on the shores of the Realm of Darkness.
At least the waves sound the same.
What else would they sound like? After the two have a heart-to-heart, Riku notices the letter in the bottle that Kairi sent in the beginning of the game. How the hell did that get all the way here? Maybe the raft was a better idea than I gave credit for. Sora reads the letter, and suddenly a doorway back to the Realm of Light opens up for the two. And they end up back at the Destiny Islands where Kairi, Mickey, Donald, and Goofy are waiting.
We're back.
You're home.
This always gives me the warm fuzzies. After the credits play, we get one more scene where Riku and Sora ponder where the door to light came from. Right before Kairi arrives with a letter from the king, setting up for the next adventure. An adventure that fans will be waiting for 13 years. Anyway, this was an amazing final level. The world itself was beautifully designed, the boss fights came fast and furious, with the final boss being a grand spectacle, and the plot was wrapped up pretty well, with some great emotional moments. Well, that's it for this episode. Tune in next time for the final mix.